They say in every relationship, there's a leader, and I believe that. In my relationship with my husband, it's me. I'm kidding. We're partners, but he's a strong man. He is the leader of our family. In this relationship, I'm the leader. Because if I'm not, and it's a partnership, I'm not a dictator. First of all, I can't make this horse do anything. I can't. I mean, I can try. And I kind of understand, and I'm confident enough. Like if he's going to run off, believe me, I'm not going to do a one-rein stop. I'm going to do the cavalry stop, get him stopped, and save my life. So there are certain things you can do to kind of get, but I can't make him do anything, especially if he's not mentally balanced. If a horse is nervous, the more you thump and bump and try to make him, bad deal. It's never going to work. So just by allowing him, or not allowing him, but getting on in a way that encourages him to stay and to stand, he knows he can trust me. He knows it's just starting to build trust. So if I'm out on the trail, now this is a good horse for me because I try not to use my legs a lot. We're going to start talking about developing feel. We're not, and I have, again, these are my ideas. We try not to kick and use our legs too much. We're going to do a couple things here about starting to develop feel. But I have a friend, Michael Richardson, he's in a wheelchair, and great horseman. He has no use of his legs. And he rides from his core and energy. And he can do anything on a horse. We don't need our legs. And our legs, you saw me kick this horse, he swished his tail and he pinned his ears back. He's cranky, he didn't. So how I have to start developing feel. So instead of kicking with both legs to get him going, I tread water. Kind of shuffle your legs up and down their side. Anytime you kick with 2 feet, their mind comes back to you before it leaves. That's just a little tip. But we overuse our legs. And we use our legs a lot in the beginning when we're starting colts, just like we get real wide and lead the horse. Here's what I don't understand about horsemanship. We start with the horse with a halter. We teach him to follow a field and lead. And then we ride them probably the first couple times with the halter. And then we put a snaffle on, so we're leading them from their back, even with a snaffle. And then they start to understand following a field, and we use leg. So if I set up, I want to go this way, and if this were a snaffle bit, I'd tip his nose, and then I'd add my leg to get him, but I wouldn't pull with the rein and the leg at the same time. So I'd put him in a frame, so here's the nose, now here's the leg. See, there's slack in my rein. So that, and then I would add my outside rein in, and so then he would start understanding to neck rein. But most of us start that way, and we start without spurs because we don't want to get bucked off a colt, and then we just add more and more and more instead of less and less and less. So again, if our ultimate goal, which it might not be y'all's, but my ultimate goal is to think it for my body to be in perfect balance with the right amount of energy to convey to the horse that he does it. So that's my goal. But so I try to do less and less. So disengaging the hindquarters, we do that a lot. There's a movement in horsemanship, and it's been going on for a long time, and there's a lot of bending going on with horses, and I don't agree with it. Horses' spines want to be straight. They're meant to be straight. Anytime we're softening a horse and getting them supple, that's wonderful. But do it when their feet are still. We can get them to give, we can work on getting them soft. But how many cutting horses do you see turning like this? None of them. You see them shift their weight back onto the hindquarters, step back, tip their nose, and come through. But yet we're doing all of this bending and bumping on these horses, and I don't understand it. I don't know why. And it makes them dull. We think it's softening them up, but it makes them dull, and it makes them cranky. So with that in mind, there are 6 things that you need to be able to do with your horse. You need upward transitions, walk from a stop, walk, trot, lope, gallop, downward transitions, and the spine is straight when we're doing that. Even a barrel horse, their nose is tipped, but for power in a good barrel horse, their spine is pretty straight. They soften the rib cage, but they're not bent too. Downward transitions, gallop, lope, trot, walk, stop, back up, spine is straight. Then we need to be able to move each foot, the front both ways and the hindquarters both ways. A side pass is a combination of moving both the front and the side at the same time. So to get those 6 things going, we need to understand about this balance point. And this is the key. This is horsemanship. If the horse starts developing feel and understands to shift the weight forward, that's good. Did you see the saddle horn move? And then I don't think I'm going to get him without help from my reins. But shift the weight back. No. So I'm going to ask him first, so you can watch my saddle horn. So I'm going to take in a deep breath, exhale, and just act as if I'm backing up. I'm not going to lean back. Oh, good boy, he felt that. That's as little as it takes. So those 2 things is what an upward transition and downward transition is. So at a walk, we want a slow walk. So developing feel. So there I had to do quite a lot to get him to move. And this is, I am not going to do, I'm not going to trot and lope in this pen. It's not big enough and it's slick. But most people should stay in a walk and trot to get things going anyway. We want to go to, because we all love to lope. I mean, it's freedom. You know, I love to lope. But a horse should be able to follow the feel of our energy, a slow walk, and follow the feel of a fast walk. Now, I didn't kick. My body got busier, and hopefully, if this were my horse, I would work on this and be more consistent, and you wouldn't see my body move that way. It's from my core, it's energy, it's intent, it's looking up the mountain and riding in a speed that I want to go. And then if I want to come back to a slow walk, now I asked him with my body. I got heavy in the saddle, but I did use my reins to support it. So here's kind of what I think about the progression of asking a horse. We first ask, we think it. So first I make a clear decision of what I want to happen. Then I ask with my energy, I ask with my body. Then I support with my reins. I don't ask with my reins first and then my body. And if I'm consistent that way, and if you start at a walk, a trot, a lope, but you should be able to have transitions within a gait. So a slow walk, a medium walk, a fast walk, then you should be able to go from a stop to a fast walk. Then a slow trot, medium trot, fast trot, from a walk to a jog. And play with it, and get your horse to really following your feel. So the way we get this going, we call it the teeter-totter. And here, being consistent, and this is his sweet spot. So every time I stop him, whether it's a horse that I think I need to back up and get his mind back to me, we back our horses a lot. But I always stop him and I am aware of, is he balanced? If I stop him with the left foot back and the right foot is forward, and I want to make a backing turn, a cow horse turn, he's not set up to do it. And then when he doesn't do it right, see, he has to get this right foot back out of the way before it can happen. If I shift the weight back. So if you're not aware of where your horse's feet are and you ask them to do a physical maneuver and they're not physically in balance to do it, it makes them cranky. Or they swish their tail, or they don't do it and then we spank them into the next thing. But it was our fault in the first place because we didn't even know he was set up wrong. And this is, I compare this to when I learned to drive a stick shift. So do you remember when you first were learning to drive? And I mean, I was driving with my dad. My dad was an amazing man. He spent every moment with us girls practicing, teaching us. Patience was not his greatest virtue. And I can remember driving and, you know, popping the clutch, and it wasn't smooth. Now I can drive. I can, not that you're supposed to, talk on the phone, probably put on lip gloss, and shift at the same time. And my horses I don't jerk my horses in the trailer behind me. But it was a practice of learning feel, of learning how much to take the gas off or put the clutch in, or how fast to do all of that. So this is the same. Don't overthink it. But, and what I kind of struggle with doing clinics is, he kind of, see how he wants, he knows to be soft, but when I put a feel up first, his first impulse is to get a little rooty. So I'm just going to say, no, that's not, but I'm not going to ruin his day about it, but I'm just going to, there, good boy. But I'm going to notice those things, because if you don't notice them, they're just going to get worse. So again, I think I said, we don't want to fix every single thing, one thing at a time, but we can be working on things all along. So I'm going to talk just for a second, because we're going to I don't want to run out of time. I said before, I'm a pleasure rider and we do ranch work. So when I'm doing clinics and talk about what will, first of all, I don't think there's a piece of equipment that can make you a horseman or a horsewoman. You can't buy a bit, you can't buy a saddle, you can't buy anything. You have to do it. You have to commit yourself to practicing it and doing it. But there are tools that will help. They sit you like a dressage saddle. There are a lot of saddles built that just sit you wrong. They just sit you in a way that does not empower or enhance your horsemanship at all. A saddle that sits you forward with your heels down and toes up and back on your pockets. You can't be balanced this way. To be balanced, you need to be like a basketball player. That's why we ride the Monel stirrups, because we have a wide base. That's why we don't ride oxbows. Oxbows will put your heels down. Tell this to Texas people and you get run out of Texas, but it's the truth. They put your heels down and your toes up and sit you on your pockets. The Monel stirrups give you a base. So when I sit in my saddle, I want my shoulders over my hips and my hips over my heels. And then when I'm in my saddle, when I get on, I stand straight up and I roll my knees in. And plumb, standing straight up, and I just sink down. This sits me on my sits bones. This is how I want to be in the saddle. Okay, those are those bones that you feel the base of your pelvis, and you should feel them. And they might get sore, but this is where you want to be. I have a wide base. When I look down, I see my toes, barely. If I see my feet are too far forward. If I don't see my feet and I see my heels, my stirrups are probably too short, and my toes are down. And it's going to sit me forward on my pelvis. So